I'm Richard Randall, and welcome back to the Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, after COVID, many people already in homes were given a foreclosure moratorium if they were unable to make their house payments. Now that the moratorium is lifted, what are some people facing who have not made their home payments? What news do you have for them?
Well, Richard, the good news is A, they have equity, and B, there are some programs to help them dig out of it if they couldn't make payments over some period of time. What I see happens a lot, and I had years of experience of this during the meltdown between 2008 and probably 2012. I helped at least 100 people avoid foreclosure with a short sale. Plus, I've written a book about it. And if you guys want a copy of the book, call me anytime, 719-301-3900. I'll be happy to send it out. But once people get behind on their payments, it's hard for them to catch up. And the banks don't help them. I mean, they don't. Pretty much if you're 3 months behind, in their mind, it's over, and some will try to work something out with you, but at the same time, they're drilling along the foreclosure pipeline. So, the government, after COVID, they did put a stop on foreclosures, but that has since been lifted. And so there's a whole lot of people that haven't been making payments for a couple of years. And so all of a sudden, we are starting to see some homes get sold at the county on foreclosures. And that really, I don't think that should be happening, because the home prices went up so much in the past 4 years, almost 40%. If you're facing a problem, you should be able to just sell it and at least walk away and break even. You really don't want a foreclosure on your record. That will stay with you for a long period of time on your credit. It's not a good thing. And the banks were ordered by the government to give these borrowers loan modifications and to work with them. But what you may not know is that if your loan modification is not approved, they're drilling down the same road of foreclosure at the same time. So you really can't trust them. I'll be the first to say, don't trust banks. So what happened right after COVID broke out, there was a surge in people that quit making payments. Now that has since dropped off quite a bit, because people were, they got back working again. They took advantage of some of the programs. But now that the moratorium has lifted, what does the borrower do if they have $20,000 or $40,000 in back payments that they need to make and they don't have the money? Now, some of these lenders are working things out with them by saying, okay, we'll put the missed payments on your loan balance and you could just pay that off over time. Some are offering loan modifications, but some are saying you got to give us all of it, or we're going to start the foreclosure process. And what's interesting is just in the past few months, we've seen a huge surge nationwide in the number of starts on foreclosures. So what is a start? What does that mean? So typically, the banks won't start the process for some time. They are required by law to try to work things out with the borrowers. The problem is the borrowers don't know what to do. So they get afraid. They won't listen, they won't take phone calls, they won't talk to the lender, they kind of stick their head in the sand, and it just creates a situation where the lender has no choice but to start the foreclosure process. So in the state of Colorado, the start of the foreclosure process is when the borrower gets notice from the county. It's called a notice of election and demand. It's a piece of paper that comes from the county. It's usually pink. That's how you know the clock is ticking. And from that point, in most cases, if it's a residential property, it takes about 120 days before they can actually get title to your home. So we don't want that to happen. That gives you plenty of time if nothing else, to sell it. But what a lot of people do is they wait until the very end before they go to what they consider the last resort, which is to sell your home. Typically, you need about 60 days to sell a home. So that only gives you 2 months of fluffy time to work out whatever you can with the bank or some of these government programs. The good news is in Colorado, the state of Colorado is actually among the lowest in the country of homeowners and what they call borrowers that are not current on their mortgage. I got this from Black Knight. There is a large number of people that have worked out their back payments issue with a lender, which is great. That's the way you really should do it if you want to stay in the home. So I'm pretty optimistic that overall, we're certainly not going to see a meltdown like we did between 2008 and 2011, in which there was a large percentage of people defaulting on their mortgage, which actually drove the markets down a good 25%. I don't expect that to happen. We've had substantial appreciation of home values in this market. It's just that the people that kind of stick their head in the sands and decide, okay, well, I don't know what to do. My lender's supposed to be working on a loan modification, but they keep losing the paperwork. I mean, the stories just go on and on about the incompetence of the lenders. The lenders used to have pretty good staff to handle this, but they don't anymore. So don't be surprised if you have a lot of administrative problems with them. But you'll know if the clock starts ticking when you get that notice of election and demand. So a notice of trustee sale, I'm sorry. If the borrower is seriously delinquent, what can they do? What happens when this moratorium is lifted? So there's actually some really great programs out there to help you avoid losing your house to foreclosure. The government has said there's supposed to be a smooth and orderly transition from this foreclosure moratorium. And I did do some research and I discovered that in this state, there is a COVID hardship grant of $40,000 that can help you get caught up on your mortgage payments. Did you know about that, Richard?
Not at all. And this is why it is so important. I mean, you've written a book on this. You keep on top of this. And the average person, a lot of veterans, et cetera, just don't have a clue. That's why you're so valuable, not just to the average home buyer, but certainly to veterans.
Yeah. And one of the things I do is I've sold almost 200 homes that are owned by the Secretary of Veterans Affairs in the past 10 years. And the thing that surprises me is more recently than ever, all of a sudden I have 5 of them, and a couple of them should have sold. They should have sold on the open market. One of them didn't even actually most of them didn't even put their house on the market. They didn't even try to sell it. They just let it foreclose, which makes no sense to me. It's like, you have equity. You could have sold it and made a profit on it and not had any problem. But I just think people don't know what to do and they get stuck. So if you purchased a home in the last couple of years, chances are you have equity. It just breaks my heart to see a veteran lose a home in foreclosure. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Like, if they did, it's okay. They can still buy another home in the end. They might just have to pay a little extra cash when they purchase, but they're also going to have to wait 4 years before they can buy a home. So you really don't want to do that. You want to avoid that at all costs. So our goal is to make sure that we're helping people avoid foreclosure. I've helped more than 100 people avoid foreclosure in my career. I've written a book about it. It's very near and dear to my heart. So if you know of anybody that has that problem, please have them call me. I would love to help them. My number is 719-301-3900, or you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
And Barb, I'm so proud of you. You are so humble. You don't mention it, but I will. You are a veteran yourself. So you understand folks who are going through some of these things, and you've got a big heart as well as all the experience. You're listening to The Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're interested in selling or buying, call Barb at 719-301-3900. We're talking, Barb, about the people who are having trouble making their house payments and their options. What should people having trouble with their mortgage do?
Well, I would start with making sure you're communicating with your lender. Don't go silent on them, because that is not going to help you. Sometimes they have programs, they have their own internal programs where they can spread any mispayments over time, or they could tack on any mispayments onto the loan balance and have a minimal effect on your current payment. So there are solutions. Definitely work with them as best you can. By law, the lender has to work with you, but if you go silent, it won't work. But make sure you watch for any notice from the county, which is called a notice of, it's a notice of public trustee sale. It will come in the mail, snail mail paper. Okay, that's how you'll know that the clock is ticking. You can also go on the respective county website and look up for the public trustee, and you can search your address there and find out if they started the process. Once the clock is ticking, then you have typically about 120 days to solve the problem. Maybe there's a loan modification about to go through, but I wouldn't wait for that. I'd put the home on the market and do whatever you can, because you don't want a foreclosure on your credit report. Since 2014, I've had the website barbhasthebuyers.com, but I've been in business here since the late 90s. I have over 27,000 buyers in waiting. Plus, we're connected to 62 cash investors that will come in and pay cash for your home if you're in a pinch. I can easily find 100 buyers that are a high match for your home. So if you have to move and you are thinking of moving in the next 2 to 6 months, go to barbhasthebuyers.com, click on Find My Buyer, and go from there. Richard?
Barb, you've got some hot new listings up and down the Front Range. Time for a lightning round?
Absolutely. I'm always excited to talk about those. Have an adorable rancher with gleaming hardwood floors on 2887 Mary Lane, priced in the low threes. I've got a beautiful, stunning home at Lookout Springs Drive, priced in the at 675. It's 4,200 square feet, 3-car garage, backs to open space. Beautiful, lovely home in the southwest part of town on Zodiac, priced in the mid sixes. And then with my esteemed colleague and partner up in Denver, the Watson team, 9415 East Colorado Avenue, 694,000. This spectacular brand new duplex with quartz counters and an all-white kitchen. Another beautiful remodeled home on 4701 South Idalia Street in the low sevens. Gorgeous 4-bedroom, Cherry Creek School District, main level living, gleaming hardwood floors. And then also 8628 East Otero Circle in the low 9, stunning 6-bedroom, tons and tons of upgrades in the Cherry Creek School District. And then I have a beautiful home on 40 acres at 17175 Warriors Path, just under 1.1 million. It's where the elk and the deer and the turkey wander, and it's just gorgeous on the inside. Plus a beautiful home on 1025 Garlock that overlooks Garden of the Gods and Pulpit Rock, priced at 1.39 million. So if you'd like to find out about all of our homes, go to barbhasthebuyers.com or call us at 719-301-3900. Richard?
You've been listening to The Real Estate Voice. It airs every Saturday. And if you are thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. That's barbhasthebuyers.com. You can see replays of the show on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Schlinker, SCHLINKER, or listen to the podcast on all of the popular platforms. Thank you for listening. And to reach out to Barb, give her a call, 719-301-3900. Thanks for listening, Barb. Have a great week.
Thank you. You as well.